What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Bonus Point Rugby Show. I'm your host, TJ Olsen, and I'm with Tavita Halafia. As always, today we are breaking down one of the biggest series of 2025 so far. All Blacks v France, 3 tests, 2 historic rugby powers, 1 very spicy series. We expected fireworks, and we got them over both games. We're also going to be talking about the British and Irish Lions tests, what has preceded the series, or the 3-match series coming up, and what is expected to pop off in this first test match. How we doing, brother?
Or how Rusty is the coach. So yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. We're not there yet. My bad. I'm doing very well, man. Bro, international rugby's back. Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere. Let's get into it, bro. So much to discuss. I'm prepared. I have 2 screens here with information that I've actually done research on, which is what I do every time. But I'm looking forward to it. Let's do it.
You're always prepared. Yeah, always prepared with the 2 screens and always coming with the fire. I love it. But let's jump straight into our rapid recap. We're going to go over our international test that just happened over the weekend. Wales took on Japan. It was 31-22 to Wales. Big test match there with Japan holding out. It was great.
Did you watch that game? The Japan-Wales game?
No, I didn't watch that one.
Bro, I've not seen a team that small be so physically able to meet the needs of a bigger team. That was insane. That was a great game. Also, too, the expats in Japan, though, they went from, didn't make Super Rugby so they're in Japan to, would be superstars in Super Rugby. But that's just my take. Doesn't say much against Wales.
That's what happens when the caliber of the competition does grow that much. I mean, you've got some tremendous players over there, and they're having a crack. It's all attack over there, though.
Correct. Sorry, my bad. I've digressed because I'm too excited. I watched that much rugby this weekend. It was awesome. Shout out to Stan and NordVPN.
Do love a good VPN and getting me the footy that we can get.
What do you mean? We watch it legally in the US.
We do watch it legally. Please don't come for us, Stan Sport. Okay. The next game we had New Zealand v France. That one was a completely different to the previous game. 43-17. New Zealand were the victors. The next game, South Africa v Italy. 45-0. We are still shocked by that random phase play move that Rassie has come up with, adding a line-out move into a rolling maul into...
We can call him Yoda now. We can call him Yoda now.
Uruguay v Romania, that one was a clean slate, 70-8 in Uruguay's favour. This one, I was talking to a couple of Irish fans about this, 106-7 Ireland v Portugal. A lot of Irish fans are screaming and stating that this was a waste of a test match. I think it has a similar vibe to the USA when they played the All Blacks. Does it get exposure for the smaller rugby countries? Yes. Is it good to watch a game where it's 100 plus in one team's favor? I don't think so. That one's kind of up for debate. I don't know. Just before I dive into the rest of them, what do you think about that one? Ireland v Portugal. What do you think it shouldn't have happened?
It shouldn't have happened. It reminds me when we're talking about the new 7 series, how they're doing the brackets now. I think we need to run those brackets, and international rugby needs to make sure that we've got teams like Portugal playing similar teams, and to throw Tonga under the bus like Tonga, where it's like an actual good game of equal value from each team. But yeah, I mean, for me, if a top tier team gets injured, a player gets injured, we're in trouble now, right? That doesn't help the game. I didn't say anything bad. Yes.
Well, we'll see. They got a couple more matches.
It's rubbish, bro. It shouldn't happen, bro.
Good job. That was... Oh, man. All right, next game, England v Argentina. Very tight contest, 22-17. Really excited to see how the next contest come out with Argentina and England in the next test matches. Canada v Belgium. Belgium come out on top of this one, 25-18 against Canada. I'm not surprised because Canada's 15s have been really struggling as of late, but still just to see Belgium, a country that is not on a lot of people's radars, showing that they can get the job done against a team like Canada and all their resources. By God.
Well, I'll be honest, let me throw myself under the bus. I thought Belgium was a city. I didn't realize it was a country. So well done, guys. That's not a joke either.
Someone wasn't paying attention in geography in school. Oh my God.
I remember Yugoslavia. Word. Even you don't know what that is.
I'm not even going to touch that with a 10 foot. I'm not even going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. And the last game was a 31-20 Spain v USA. USA's got a lot of work to do. We're very interested in that one. But the last game, the Invitational one, British and Irish Lions playing AUNZ 15, and we are going to be talking about that in our second half segment today. And I'm really excited to jump into that. But our first half segment today, we are chatting all about the All Blacks and the French series. We've got a lot to cover here because we are covering 2 test matches. We took the week off last week. But the first thing I do want to cover, French developmental side, as they've been calling it. Someone will say, exposed the All Blacks in game 1. A lot of people expected the All Blacks to dominate both of these games, and there was a lot of things that stood out. But in game 2, the All Blacks did a lot of good analysis. They changed up their gameplay and had a very convincing win in game 2. So what are your thoughts on this developmental side? Because a lot of this information that we're getting, the reasoning being top 14 not releasing players, French rugby not releasing players still being involved in semi-finals and finals footy, and their season being very long as well. It does run all the way up until June, starts in September, so almost twice as long as Super Rugby. So there's a lot of reasons why these players should get the rest.
Yes.
What have been your thoughts on this developmental side?
Well, one thing that I'm not seeing a lot of chat about is the coaching style and the coaches coming together. I think what we saw in game 1 was we saw Razor putting together a team and trying to implement a plan. But what we saw was the French coach really comes together, knowing what that plan was and dissecting it and implementing his game plan on a counter level. We knew since last year, right, that they were going to be sending a B squad, essentially. And I'm not angry. I'm not mad at it. I thought game 1 went how I thought it was going to go. And going back to what I said first, this goes back to Razor's coaching style and whether he was going to double down on it for game 2, which I think he did, and made the amendments he needed to. But all props to the French, bro. I mean, even on that second game, we saw a French team that didn't give up. We saw a tight defense around the ruck. I thought the inside backs really did well, but they were counter punches. They were waiting for the All Blacks to do something, and then they countered, I thought. But, it went how I thought it was going to go, for sure. But I did expect more from the All Blacks. For sure, especially game 2.
Yep, I do think that in game 2, the All Blacks were able to turn things around, and they did look like they had a little bit more variety in their phase play. I definitely think if you compare them to last year, I think we looked very predictable, and there was a lot of things that we didn't do efficiently or we didn't do as well as we could have. So I think coming into this season, we definitely have made improvements to that. But I think game 1 to game 2, you can see that for the French side, Sagan really impressed me, the fly half for them. I think he was tremendous in the first game. I think his kicking was phenomenal. He controlled the game very well. And I think a lot of their players really stood out. Like, I think you saw the statistic that I think in the second game that Beauden Barrett has how many test matches over, collectively he has as more test matches in his belt than the whole starting 15, which is saying something for the team that was selected. But it was phenomenal to see. I can't pronounce his last name. Is Adegobi or Adegobi, the guy that played fullback for the first test match and then the winger for the second test match. He surprised me so much. He played so well.
Yes, I agree. I think also, too, what we saw in game 1 and 2 was a more composed side in the French. While the French have had, historically been a more calmer team, seeing a B side be that composed against an All Black side, that, to be fair, were physically more dominant on a one-on-one level. But I saw in game 1, the French team as a team really composed and they held that together. And even when shit went sideways in the first half in game 2, they still really held it together, which was really interesting to see. The one thing for me that stood out in game 1 was the midfield defense. And at the breakdown, I was like, holy moly, what are we like? We saw a fast, dominant. I saw a dominant first tackle into a pilfer position that I haven't seen for a few years, since like a Richie McCaw. And then we saw their midfield really they were either cutting in on a hard C, shutting it off, or they were letting him drift and cutting it on the inside, which was really interesting. However, Razor's coaching, like I said, seeing him come into game 2 and acknowledge that and then exploit it was for me as an All Black fan. That was nice to see. For the French, I was impressed with the French, bro. That really, yeah. And that 10, dude, he's the man. He's only young too, right?
They're all really young. Like they're all like I think
average age is 24. I'm pretty sure.
Mid-20s, yeah.
Yeah, and like
something crazy like that.
But he controlled the territory really well. He knew when to. His kicks were very deliberate. He knew when to. He knew when not to. He knew when to give it high. He knew when to come into the middle. It was out of sight, bro. I couldn't believe it, and you could tell the Kiwis are getting frustrated with it. But then game 2, it all changed. Shut up, Billy Proctor.
Yeah. No, I think I definitely want to touch on that because I think Billy Proctor. I don't necessarily believe he had a bad game in the first Test match. I definitely think he showed his flavor and he showed his opportunities when he took them. But there was definitely a lot of passiveness in his play. I think there was a few instances where he just was a bit out of sorts. But yeah, like you said, I think the second game really showed that connection between Geordie Barrett and Billy Proctor, and Proctor does what he does best. He was hitting those hard running lines. His defense came in age, and I definitely think as well you can see the development and the progression that Geordie Barrett has made over in the URC playing with his team over in Europe. I think he's now become not like a revolutionary player now, but he's definitely figured out some things like that little offload that he had, like he was able to break the line and put a player in a space.
Yeah, he's come to a point now where slower is faster, which is really interesting, being a bigger player. And for Billy Proctor, he was targeted in that first game. And the thing that I was worried about was I think he's a better player one-on-one and individually, but seeing him targeted and not being able to handle it, I was like, this shouldn't be new to you, bro. Like, you've had better players come at you in Super Rugby, I think. But seeing him hold it together and then come out and really handle it come the second game was really interesting. But yeah, man, Bodie Barrett's kicking game, bro. If the All Blacks are going into like, I'm here for that, bro. I'm here for that. I could talk about this for ages, bro. I've got so many notes. But yeah, no, it was good, man. But Billy Proctor, for me, he's the stand-up, bro. Billy Proctor's the key for this season and moving into World Cup time preparation.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think the round out of that is I think the All Blacks blueprint to win has just been fast ball, punchy phases and really brutal at the breakdown. I think what I really loved is that when the All Blacks went away from their traditional set piece or from their phase play, you see that everyone was firing on all cylinders. Like there was a handful of situations where we left a breakdown lacking support, or there was a couple of instances where we just made the wrong decision. But I think majority of the time, even when we had those one-off picks from the ruck and we were capitalizing on a loose French defense, I think we were all just firing, as opposed to the first Test match where it was chaos. Like, because we were just trying to just figure out everything under fire and go from there.
Do you think that there's an issue with the combinations that he's created with the starting 15 at least? Because for me, I see a disconnect. Like, you know,
yeah, I definitely think that. Yeah, I definitely think that Scott Barrett being out definitely played a part in the combinations kind of being a little bit off. I think the back three is, although they played quite well, as in like our wingers and fullbacks, I think we've still got to figure out how we navigate that situation. I think they played great, but I think we still feel pretty disconnected. Why? Who do you think?
I mean, for me, I think the 9, 10, 12 combination is still up for grabs. I think Bodie has got the 10 spot. I just don't know what the 9, 12 situation looks like at the moment. If we're going to be playing a kicking game, I want a 12 that is a defensive 12 that can just crash and run his lines. Then we can slot Geordie in at 13. For me, the biggest problem is our back three. If we're going to run extra large 6-7s to have line-out options, and with Scotty out, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, what are we running? Because I think we're not utilizing our punch on a second phase play with a Artie Severe there. So it's like, how are we trying to run this? Are we running second phase deep, or are we trying to like go deep and have a powerful forward pack in a line out and in the scrums? The lack of cohesion for me is a little worrying, because against the second-rate French side, we still were exposed across multiple moments in both games.
Yeah, I agree. I think having Tupou Vaa'i, although I love Toops and like he does so many things so well, and he was a big catalyst in that. I think pushing him back into lock and getting Finau into there. I think still having him on the field, but getting Finau playing 6. Having Leo, Willie, and Savia, I think they did great because I think Artie's playing great, but I do love the front row bench that impact that we've had. Like I think Tossi and Norris and Tokiaho, I think they're a great cohesive combination to come off the bench and really make an impact. Norris and Tossi, they're fit, they're mobile, and they're still winning those scrums. And Tokiaho's coming in for Cody Taylor when he's needed. But yeah,
can they do the job against the Saffers? I don't think so right now.
I personally feel like you got to switch it up against the South Africans. Like I think this works against the French pack because they're a bit smaller. And like if we were playing the guys that they would originally roll out, I don't think that this set would work. But I think in game 3 against the French, I think we've got to stick with that for the combinations. But no, I think we definitely switch it up and change it. I think personally that I love Fletcher Newell. I don't know if Ethan de Groot can still handle the South African pressure and dominance for the first 50.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. For me, honestly, I would like to see a forward pack that is less dominant at set piece, but are all over the field. If we've got a tight 5 that are all 7s, I think that's going to do us a lot of good if we're going to be playing that field game with Bodie Barrett's kicking, which how does he get better? He's like Dan Carter. How do you get better? Like he got faster and slower at the same time.
Like,
he got calmer and more hectic. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like he's doing offloads like Sonny Bill Williams. And I was just like,
I was watching some of his kicks and I was sitting there going, oh, my God, yeah, it's phenomenal.
Bro, full credit to Japanese rugby. That's what's happening, bro, because those dudes have all the ball skills in the world. I genuinely believe that, but I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. And don't even get me started with the midfield. There's too many options.
Yeah, well, I know that I think we've got some great options, but I think like depth at certain positions. If we have like we've got Tupaia, we've got Tavatava Nawai, and those guys, I think they can definitely play 12, but I think 13 is where we're really lacking. And I think we can. You saw Quinn Tupaia play 13 on the weekend. I don't personally like him as a 13.
No,
I prefer him as a 12.
Yep. But if you're going to play him at 12, then I
think we're definitely lacking depth.
Yeah, I think honestly, too, one thing for me is if we go back to the old All Blacks where they just have a crashing center like an Alatini, or you know what I mean? Like if Bodie's at 10, just have that. I mean, it's Tabu, right? Just a guy that just comes in hard, good defense, ball runner, but can also do offloads. And then you have a Geordie at 13. It opens up, especially if you've got a back 3 of any combination. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I suppose we'll see. But we're going to see a lot of changes this year, depending who they're playing, I think.
So I think that's going to lead me into the last 3 questions for you. We'll rattle them off pretty quickly because there's one question I want to ask you to end the conversation. But the first one, do we make any big changes, or do we stick with the guys we have and build the combinations to build that cohesion for this upcoming test?
Keep it and just see if these combinations work at the risk of sucking and losing. We just got to know.
Because we already got the cup in there and we got to have a crack and see what we can come out with. Yeah, okay, I like that. Do you think this is a successful tour for the French with the side that they brought?
100%, bro. They have been nothing but impressive. It's been the fact that they disrupted the All Blacks in both games in different quarters and in different ways is insane, bro. As a B team, that's wild, bro. That's what and the coaching finesse to know. We saw a coach know his players and play to those strengths. As a counterpuncher, going back to boxing, insane, bro. So good.
Okay, last question. What do you think about them leaving before the trophy presentation? Did you see that?
I'm cool with it, man. Oh, yeah, I'm cool with it, bro. They're French, G. That doesn't bother me at all. Again, it comes down to, for me, it comes down to the top down, bro. As the coach down. If the media are talking that bad about them, second-rate team, whatever, bro, stuff it, bro. Bounce. Having said that, though, I'm also an antagonist. I was cool with it, bro.
I don't know. I think we've had such a good. Yeah, I know you don't care, but I know. I think we've had such a good rapport and kind of good vibe with the French organization for the past years. Like even when we have had tough test matches, like it's always been on an even keel. To see them leave before a trophy presentation, I've never personally seen that in in a test match like that. Like, I think maybe even after the Aussies have been embarrassed in like a Bledisloe Cup series, they still stick around. They still show the respect that is deserved for that. And even if we've got a third game coming, I personally don't like it. But again, yeah,
I think on a level of a rugby etiquette, sure. But at the same time, bro, if the media talk shit about them. The B side, who cares about them? We don't know who they are. They don't owe the All Blacks anything, bro. But again, that comes from the coach down. Like I said at the first point, it's coach level down. So they obviously thought it was okay, and that's fine. The French also play very good mind games, which I'm cool with because I'm an antagonist.
Fair enough. All right, we're going to take a quick... You are an antagonist, aren't you? All right, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come right back and we're going to talk all about the British and Irish Lions. We'll be back in a sec. Okay, welcome back. We are ready to talk about our second half segment, which is all about the British and Irish Lions, their tour, and the games that have preceded this upcoming test series for 3 matches. So they have played a total of, I believe, 4 games. There are a couple of games against Super Rugby sides, one against the Western Force, one against the Reds. Actually, no, it'd be five games, wouldn't it? So it'd be against the Waratahs and against the Brumbies, and then they had the game against the AUNZ team. We got one other prelim match coming up against the Pacifica and First Nations side, and then also the regular 3-match test series. So let's dive straight into it. I mean, I think there's been a few things that have happened throughout these test match series, a few different combinations tried out, but who has impressed you the most so far in this series?
Bro, I'm going to be mad favorable. Tuipolotu, bro. Sione Tuipolotu, bro. But here's the thing that I like. There was a big think about the expat players that weren't, not from there, but now they're playing. The fact that he got to come back to Australia, where he was born and raised, and play like he's playing. I think the biggest issue that I have is that we're seeing going overseas makes you a better player, which loses that Super Rugby, the glitz of we're better. And so him coming back and still just seeing his post-match presses has been really impressive. You can see how he's just like, he loves it, but he's been playing great, dude. And having 2 big boppers and you're playing off 2 big boppers and you're playing off some 10s that you're not used to, he's just been impressive, man. Really impressive. And he's actually fitter than I thought he was, playing like faster paced rugby, because they are playing a fast paced style of rugby, like more Southern Hemisphere style, and he's keeping up with it. And I'm just annoyed that we lost him. But yeah, he's impressed me the most.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think he's been having a tremendous campaign so far. I think he's 100% showing his worth in that 12 jersey. I personally have been, I really enjoyed Finn Russell play again. I think he's been having a great opportunity to showcase his worth and showcase his style of play, especially with Owen Farrell coming back into the mix and showing, just because your dad's the coach and you're Owen Farrell, you can't just come in and take the spot. I think he's 100% in great form, but I agree. I think Shaune's having a great campaign so far. Bundy and him in that 12-13 combination, I think that was great to see in the first test match, just to see those 2 hardcore runners in that. But yeah, it's been phenomenal.
Yeah, been very nice to watch some Southern Hemisphere rugby in the British and Irish Lions, which has been great.
Yeah, 100%.
How do you say his name? Dehaan Vandermeer?
Vandermeer.
Bro. I didn't realize he was South African. Now I see it.
I think it was, I think technically he is South African from, I was talking to one of the boys about this. I think technically he is South African, but he's from playing overseas through a contract, and he does have some family, but I'm pretty sure he is European or whatever his regular nationality is. But I think he's spent time in South Africa. I don't think he's actually South African, according to my understanding. But that was from the research that I did.
Okay, cool. Well, that was, I mean, he's also been pretty cool too.
He's been great. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Well, I think 5 games on the trot. We've had a 54-7 win against the Western Force, a 52-12 win against the Queensland Reds, 21-10 win against the Waratahs. So the closest score there, 36-24 against the Brumbies, and then the disappointing score, 48-0 against the AUNZ test team. So before we dive into talking about the AUNZ test team, because I know we've got a lot about that and the upcoming First Nations and Pacifica series, what do you think out of the 4 Super Rugby teams, what was the most, I guess, compelling or exciting game? Because obviously the closer score was the Waratahs, but we did have a pretty incredible contest with the Brumbies. What was your most impactful game out of those 4 series?
Well, honestly, I just like seeing the Reds game. I saw the British and Irish Lions try things. I saw some more cohesion. I saw their confidence at the breakdown. You know, a lot of like pick and goes, quick plays, which I really liked, which I'm unfamiliar with, obviously. But I thought that, for me, that was the most entertaining game. The Waratahs and Brumbies games it was good to see some set piece play and just see, like, bro, the Northern Hemisphere just got their shit together at set piece, man. So it was just nice to see it. And it was nice to see it disrupted. And then they made their amendments and then showed their superiority.
No, I agree.
That was cool, bro. But the games are going exactly how I thought they were going to go. But it's been good. It's been good, bro. Yeah, it's been good.
I agree. I think the territory battle definitely came into play. I think in the Waratahs game, the British and Irish Lions had, I think it was 70% territory. But one stat that I actually impressed me a lot is the capacity for the turnovers won. I think the Waratahs ended up with 9 turnovers in that game, and the British and Irish Lions only had 1. So, obviously, like you said, they had some very good set piece, a lot of good phase play, and they were able to lean into a lot of what makes them great in the Northern Hemisphere and going through that channel. But I think the fact that the Waratahs were able to take it to them and provide that has been great. I think that the one player that I really want to speak on, though, has been Mac Hansen. I think a lot of guys talking about him leaving from the Brumbies and coming back and showing his development and just how impactful he is, not only to his club team, his international team, but for the British and Irish Lions and where he stands out. I think he's been phenomenal in my opinion.
Phenomenal, bro. Yep, I totally agree, man. Totally agree. Like I said a couple of weeks ago on our podcast, this is the best British and Irish Lions team that we're ever going to see, I think, or to date. And we're seeing variations in their game. It's not the same structure every game. They're really adapting to each team, and they're making amendments, and they're showing off their versatility, which is freaking scary. And yes, Mac Attack, baby. Mac Attack.
Why does it sound like you're quoting like a Mighty Ducks movie?
That's because I got too many notes, bro. I'm trying to read all over my notes, and I'm like, I'm here. And I had Mac Hansen, and there's that Mac Attack, the man. Mac Attack, the man.
Love it. He comes ready for not only the information to chat about, but for the taglines as well.
Man, I'm just here for social media boosts.
Just get that for the gram. Okay, I know you have a lot of stuff that is in your notes, and also you want to talk about from your heart. So let's jump in and chat about this AUNZ test. Give it to me. What were your thoughts,
bro? This is first and foremost. I'm not even going to talk about the uniform. I don't care about it. It is what it is. We saw the importance of how big a difference Australia and New Zealand play. There was no cohesion. There was quite literally, we saw different players from different teams playing different roles, and no amount of 2.5, I think they had 2.5 weeks of prep could help that. And for me, it highlighted the exact issue we have with Super Rugby right now and why people aren't interested in it. Because we saw, a bunch of talented rugby players who are, on paper, that's an amazing side. But the fact that they couldn't put it together and even score a try was insane, bro. It was that, like, I didn't think that would happen at all. Do you know what I mean? We had good leadership. We had great selections, but that disconnect between Australian style of rugby and Kiwi style of rugby was so evident. We had guys in the backline that were trying to run in that should have run out. We had a 10 at any given point that should have passed and didn't. We had, a 6, 7, 8. I don't even know what they were doing, to be truthfully honest. Do you know what I mean? It was shambles. But what I will say, the Lions did such a good job of exploiting each and every piece of weakness. And I was like, bro, these guys are on. So that was good to see. But yeah, man, it was, for something that could have been really good, I was thoroughly disappointed.
Yeah,
not because
I
they
agree.
lost,
I think when you look at it, I thoroughly agree as well. I think when you look at it, I thought that a Barbar's team that comes together and spends 4 days at the pub and then jokes about set piece moves and things that you can do to like create highlight clips that you'll remember for the rest of your life. You had 2.5 weeks where boys were at training camp. They were learning each other's. I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect, but you can show the severe difference between what the AUNZ team did versus the Lions. And Lions, again, Lions have way longer prep. They know each other's playing styles, but they come from completely different programs. The fact that they can put all that together, and I think the biggest thing for me was just the defensive laps. The amount of people, like you said, that were going one way and another guy going another way. Like I saw one player running around 3 players to try and make a cover tackle when all it was like simple. One guy didn't need to bite in. All he had to do was connect and just read the room, and that was it. And yeah, to see the amount of errors and just like cohesion that wasn't there, it was just so disappointing.
Yeah, like basic rugby cohesion. That was just wild, bro. But good work to the Lions, though. They did such a good job of exploiting it all in different ways. But yeah, man, it was sad. It was sad.
One thing I do like though is, I mean, you can't really get worse than that AUNZ jersey, and I know you don't want to talk about it, is the First Nations and Pacifica jersey. It looks pretty good. Like it's not the best jersey, but it's way better than the AUNZ one.
Yes, agree. It's better than the toll. The toll jersey for the AUNZ side. That's good, bro. I like it. Yeah, exactly. The toll, bro. I think that side too, we're going to see a lot more passion. I mean, that's what lacked with the AUNZ side, I think. We saw a bunch of rugby players. We didn't see a team. I think we're going to see a lot more of passion and rugby players that understand the power of what they're doing for this, the first time ever. So that's going to be really interesting to watch. And they're going to win. I said it. They're going to win.
Yeah. Well, let's switch gears up a little bit because I know we want to chat a little bit about the First Nations and Pacifica squad. I think looking at who they've named, I personally think they're not a better team on paper than the AUNZ team, but I think they've got a lot of firepower here. They've got guys like Sarah Uru, Charlie Gamble, who you really love, Rob Leota, Pete Samu, Salakai Loto, and Painga Mosa in the forwards. And then we've also got guys like Harrison Goddard, who we got to see out here in LA and who has been flourishing in Super Rugby with the Brumbies coming off the bench. Kalani Thomas, I know you've been really excited to see him play as well. And then guys like Kurtley Beale, Jack Debrasini, our boy Andy Muirhead, and then a couple of other guys in the outside backs. So I'm really excited to see them. And I think Foketi is going to be a big catalyst for that team. I think he's going to play a big role for them.
100%. And let's not forget the coaching staff, man. We've got legends that have literally changed the game as in that coaching staff. These boys are coming into it not only not a chip on their shoulder, but with something to prove, being the first team for First Nations and Indigenous and Pacifica team. They're out there to prove a point. But we're gonna see a lot of smash. There's going to be a lot of violence, but I think we're going to see for the first time, like Moana taking off, like what Moana did this season. We're going to see some finesse that we haven't seen for a while too, which is going to be really interesting. I mean, I'm thinking about back in the day with the Wallabies having the Ella brothers. Do you know what I mean? We're going to see stuff like that from Kurtley Beale. It's going to be an amazing sort of game. And having Totai and Tana there, good coaching heads, man. So I think everyone's coming into the game like, oh, this is going to be a great game. But we're going to see an actual great game with good rugby IQ and some athleticism that we all know we can do.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to Totai Kefu and Tana. I think they're going to be a great coaching combination. I think they're going to gel really well, and I think they'll come up with a few tricks up their sleeves. Okay, let's finish off and let's chat about the British and Irish Lions and what we expect this first test match to look like. So we've got the starting 10 jersey. Who have you got taking that one? Have you got Smith? Have you got Farrell? Have you got Russell? Who have you got in that jersey?
I got Russell, bruh. Only because
I agree. I think he's been playing so well.
Yep. 100%.
Okay, back row combination. Who have you got?
I don't know, man. Tom Curry, high work rate. Love him. I don't know whether they put him at 7 or 6. I think they keep him at 7. I think perhaps Ben Earl at 8. Number 6, I'm not too sure. It depends what happens with injuries, if they want to play like 3 large men in the lineup or not. So I'm not too sure at 6, to be very fair with you. Honest with you.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you've got a good combination with Curry and Earl with that 7 and 8. I think you can go Burn at 6, Targ Burn, and then probably have that and as a good combination. But we'll definitely 4, 5? See. Yeah, I think so. I think Atoji will probably be your 4, and then maybe you have Chesham as your 5 or
Fair.
something like that. Yeah, I'm not
Fair.
really sure. I think you definitely got a couple of options, but Atoji's got to be in the 4, and that leads me to my next question. How have you thought about Atoji's captaincy? Is he leading from the front, or is there still things to be left to be desired with him?
I think he's doing his job adequately. Probably not the most physical I've seen him play, but I think he's the calm head in an assortment of fiery heads. But I'd love to see him. I would love to see him get a little more aggressive and really take charge.
Yeah.
And I think we will see
I
that
like that.
first test. What about you? What do you think?
No, I agree. I think there's definitely some things left to be desired, but I think he's still finding his feet. I think now that he's got a few test matches under his belt in this position, like but being the captain of the British and Irish Lions, it's very there's a lot of weight on your shoulders in that situation. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see, but we'll definitely find out how he goes when the real heat turns up in that first test match. If he's
We
named in
definitely will,
that
my boy.
jersey.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, cool. We're going to take another quick break, and we're going to come back and we're going to chat about our bonus point segment. Kalyn Ponga to Union potentially. We don't know yet. There's a lot of different things going out there at the moment in regards to the media and little rumors, but we will see, and I can't wait to talk about it when we return. Okay, bonus point segment today. Newcastle superstar Kalyn Ponga has engaged the services of New Zealand Rugby Union agent as he prepares to walk away from the Knights as early as end of this year. Ponga, who's 27, he's begun exploring alternative options despite having 2 years to run on his deal with the Knights, and sources with knowledge of the situation talking on the condition of his situation. Ponga is concerned about wasting his prime years of his career at the struggling Knights and is open to departing at the end of the season. So, Hala, what do you think about this potential move, and what do you think that he can bring to Union?
Well, I think he needs to talk to Rugby Australia, not New Zealand Rugby. I think that's where his future would be brighter. But he'd be a great rugby player. I don't know that he has the thing that would make him become an All Black at all, but I think he has the potential to change the game as an outside back when it comes to Union. I mean, this is interesting, bro, because he's a smaller fella. Not that, we got small players, but he's definitely, as a ball runner, I think he's more of a 10-12 as opposed to a fullback or an outside back. So it'd be interesting to see what positions he would be playing in Union.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think if you do think about the Australia aspect, I think from a World Cup standpoint, I think coming in 2027, there's no better time for a big name cross-code move. I think you've got obviously previous people who have done it, RTS, Israel Folau, Joseph Suaalii most recently, and I 100% agree. If his thought is to have a crack, it's got to be better chance with the Wallabies, but we know that he does love his Kiwis, and he does. I think he would try and make it fit. But last little bit for this, would you say that he would be a better fit as a fullback, a fly half, or an inside center?
He would be the perfect combination of a 10-12 as a ball runner and playmaker. Stephen Larkham, Andrew Murden's hybrid with a step. For me, I think that, having him in that sort of second ball playing scenario would be ridiculous, bro. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think 10-12 is definitely going to be the perfect situation for him. I think he'd be tremendous. His skill level, and I think especially his ability to read defenses and have a crack. Very different in Union, but I think give him some time, give him a preseason. I don't think he's going to be like a Benji Marshall and flounder a bit with the Blues. I think he can definitely have a crack, and I think his kicking
strategy. Do you think he's more successful than RTS?
Take time.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I think RTS definitely came in and he had his moments and he showed his worth, but I definitely think Ponga is going to have a little bit more of a skill set that fits this modern game. I think his agility, his vision, his acceleration, I think he can really thrive in broken play. I think what it'll come down to is just seeing his capacity when it comes to the breakdown pressure and it comes to potential nuances for the game. So I think that's all going to be up in the air, but I definitely think he has a better upside for me personally than an RTS, especially if he does play a 10-12.
Agreed, bro. Super agreed. But, all's fair until you have Nani Lamape running at you.
Man, we will leave that there because I'm going to be picturing that all night tonight. That's going to be crazy. Oh man. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to the Bonus Point podcast. We will be jumping in next week, chatting all about the final match between the All Blacks and the French and the kickoff of the British and Irish Lions. Hala, thank you for joining me again.
Thank you, sir.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, everyone. All good. Thank you, brother.
Okay. All right. We'll tune in next week. We will chat for the code. Thank you for tuning in and have a good one.